Can you hear me?
Now,
Thank you. In this part of our journey, we will begin sacred.
you got to talk in the mic. Yeah,
I'm so sure
it makes a difference.
The next phase is that we're going to do libations from our chief, and then Nana Malaya. I've already blessed and sanctified the space, so we're going from here. And then if we have stones, they'll be coming. We're going to ask each and every one of you all to get a stone. And then I'm going to lead you as to what to do with that stone. It's going to be two?
Some people have two, so they'll...
Okay, but just make sure everyone gets one, because when we do this, you're going to use the stone, and I'll say it again when they come. You're going to use the stones as a cleansing. And you will be going around your head. You will be going down the front of your body, arms, legs, stomach, torso, all the way down your feet, as well as the back of you. Okay? And then after that, you're going to take the stones and lift them up the same way you took us down to bring in the new energy. And you should be grounded, because our ancestors are here. They're active, they're effective, they're alive. And then the third thing we're going to do, we're going to have two lines to come up. When you get here, just take your shoes off. You lay down so you won't get dirty and wet and all that. And you're going to pray into those stones. Whatever's on your heart, to pray for yourself and your family. Or just you, yourself, your prodigy, your loved ones, your comrades, your freedom fighters, your warriors, you know, whoever. And then you pray to that stone and you release it. You're going to release it into the river and let the ancestor take it. And you also can talk to them. You can pray to the ancestors through your stones as well. They went on a horrendous journey so that we can be here today. And we have an obligation to stand on their shoulders and continue to do their work. So without further ado, Nana Malay, I'm so glad you're here with me. We have sisters in what? Your ancestor works, yes. Especially with adopted. So without further ado, Chief, you want to come and do libations?
I welcome you once again, and we have to understand that we are great people, and what we're doing right now is just to show the whole world that we have not forgotten our origin. And of course there have been efforts to get us dislocated and disconnected from our source, but we are not going to relent. We will continue to connect with our source, because we know that is where our power comes from. And now, we are going to now ask Nana Malaya to give us a prayer and libation from the Akan spirituality. Thank you.
Blessings. I'm Nana Malaya, Nana Enu, one who speaks in parables, but I am also the wife of Nandensuya, who is a river spirit. River spirits follow us everywhere. You may be familiar with Oshun. It's all the same energy. Also, Oshun and Nandensuya are represented as the blood system in our bodies, because without that, of course, nothing would flow. So, as with the rivers, nothing on the earth would flow. And the rivers were the first highways, when before some of the ground got changed, in which we now have roads paved. The rivers were the first ways in which we traveled. So I'm going to say a prayer, and I'm going to use both English and libation is the same. No matter where you are, no matter how you say it, no matter where and what language you use. You can use a clear liquid, they call them spirits, right? Because of the extra energy that's gone into the fermentation to strengthen and make the liquid more powerful. But water is also important because the water comes from heaven down to earth. And with the process of condensation, evaporation, it goes back up to come again. So we are that same recycling process. My Native American ancestor tells me that when you see a shooting star, we're stars, and the shooting star is a baby come to earth. And as we pass and transition, that we become stars again. And as much as we may want to be here for as long as it's deemed, none of us is getting out of here alive. So, oftentimes, people of African descent are told not to remember our ancestors. We're told very negative things about that. But being in Washington, D.C., you got the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, you have so many memorials to other people's ancestors, and yet they tell you to forget yours. So I'm just here to remind you, they lie. And to remember that anytime you speak of those whom you know and whom you don't know, that you create them to be forever in your life. So we want to acknowledge that for ourselves. So I'm going to say I go, you say I may. I go, I go, I go. I'm going to pour first into the glass, and then I'm going to pour into the river. And I also want to remind us, it's interesting how the people who sometimes aren't considered important in our society, you know, the winos that hang out on the corner or in the alleys, they're one of the main preservers of our tradition of prayer as libation. They don't take a drink until they do what? This is for the ones that aren't here. So sometimes for those who are not considered important, but in God's world and the world of traditional people, everyone is important. And sometimes our treasures are housed in ways and with folks that we may not have expected. So I say, to the poem, Beijing Sana, and to all Abosun, to all the Orisha, to all of our Native American ancestry, any of the positive energies that are with us, may you continue to protect us, guide us, bring us wisdom. To all the rivers, and this year we have the Anacostia. We also have the Rock Creek. We have the Potomac, which actually goes from the mountains all the way down to the ocean. Obatala is one of my fathers. Olokun is one of my fathers. Nanabisuyao is the river that connects the mountains to the ocean. So you see it's all the same. It's all literally connected. So we say the power of all of those go into each one of us. And we give energy north, east, the south, and the west. May we be empowered by all of those. May we be empowered by the water that not only flows within us, but our bodies are to be predominantly water. May we remember that water is also a conduit of electricity and lots of other energy. So remember that as well. To remember your ancestors. To remember the ones you know. Call out the last names in your family all at the same time. Call them out. Honor Ray, Brown, Moses, William. And now call out your personal departed. Whether it's the personal part of your mothers and fathers, mine is Mary Wilhelmina Brown, already gone, Ebenezer Ray. I am the daughter of those two, but also my son, Tony Renee Rucker, is an ancestor, my sister Eleanor Ray, my uncle, Mr. James. I have an aunt that came to me in dreams, and she said, all the time you do libation, you don't mention my name. Aunt Sarah! Know and don't know. You can continue to mention any of those departed in your family. We want to pray for all the tragedies that have occurred and have taken children and everyone else. We want to pray for all of them. Peace to their spirits. We want to pray for the healing, not only in this nation, but around the world. Because we know there's too much tragedy happening in many places. May we also pray for those historical departed that we know have been helpful in our journey. So call out those names: Harriet Tubman, Marcus Garvey, Ancestor Washington, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Queen Nzinga, Queen Hatshepsut, Nanny Helen Morrow. There's a woman they call the One-Eyed Warrior. When you get a chance, look her up. She was said to have stopped the Romans and the Greeks from going any farther into the continent of Africa, Kemet, and Nubia. We want to honor all of those energies. All of our royal spirits, Ida B. Wells and all the others, males and females, may we honor them. With Juneteenth coming up, I was informed by a historian that in Galveston, when the troops actually went into Galveston to tell them folks, our people had been free like 2 years ago. They were soldiers of African descent. The black regiments are the ones that went in to Galveston. So let's recognize that when we honor that commemoration next week. So all those in our families, all those that we don't know, all those from the Middle Passage, all those ancient ones that we carry in our wombs, in our bodies, in our genes, everywhere, all of us, men and women, we actually carry all that history in our bodies. Recognize that, honor that, and let's benefit everything we do here for the next 7 generations to come. I will. And before I pour this into the river and say another prayer, they say singing is like rain twice. And so this one came to me as I was walking, and some others may also be inspired. But going down to the river, going down to the river, we're going down to the river to be baptized. That means the power. Going down to the river, going down to the river, going down to the river to be baptized. One more time. Going down to the river, going down to the river, going with me, and I'm gonna say, I want to yo, and you say yo. I want to yo. I want to yo. I want to yo. We want to acknowledge one of the river energies, adaci, for which I am a keeper of that flame. So, an easy song. It goes, that's all y'all have to say. They say 3 is an important number. Once could be an accident, twice a coincidence, 3 is a number of power. And our third song is going to come from our sister, Free. So she's here to empower us also with song.
This ancestor chant that I wrote last October. This will be the first time that I'm sharing it with my community. Oh, y'all gonna be using, are you gonna be using that right now? Can somebody, hold this for the contract for me?
Volunteer.
It's not.
We need an assistant
Please.
to hold the mic underneath it.
Everybody got their cards? Got your back. All you gotta do is call them and they'll be right there. You got to give them an offering in your day. Then say amen. And I'll share, I said, the ancestor got your back. All you gotta do is call them and they'll be right there. You got to give them a little offering in your day. Then say amen. And I'll share the ancestors. Come on, y'all. Got your back. All you gotta do is call them back. Be right there. You got to give them a little offering in your day. Then say amen. And I'll share the ancestors got your back. All you gotta do is call them and they'll be right there. You got to give them an offering in your day. Then say amen. And I'll say one more time. The ancestors got your back. All you gotta do is call them and they'll be right there. You got to give them an offering in your day. Then say amen. And I share, and I share, and I share. Thank you all. Thank you.
Does everybody remember what I said we were gonna do with the stone? Show me your reflection. Good? When you get the stone,
And I'll
She's not French.
Hey, Mona, we ain't finished.
when you get the stone, you're gonna circle around your head 3 times. Cleanse your mind with it, all the way down to the ground. Then bend all the next table. Then you're gonna bring the stone back up.
So,
Around and through and bless it.
let her finish.
Like the temple of the ancestors.
Let her finish.
Grandma's hands, church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hands, they should tell me so well. My grandma's hands, I just got one more. Africa united, Africa united, Africa united. Said your children, they wanna come back home. Africa united, Africa united. And we going to our motherland. Oh, how good and pleasant it would be before God and man. Ancestor, kumbaya, kumbaya, kumbaya. Ancestor, kumbaya, kumbaya. We need your kumbaya. Yeah, yeah. Kumbaya, ancestors.